Welcome, everyone. We've got a big 1v1 matchup for you here. This is going to be close to being the decider for first seed in Group B, I believe it is. It's Ebony Scarface taking on Xanxus. Ebony hasn't played as many of his matches yet. I believe he comes in 1-0, maybe 2-0 right now. Xanxus is 3-0. Both these players were pretty heavily favored in the group as well. So it's going to be fun to see them get started. Ebony with an early arm roast does set Xanxus back. He had a big offensive hand he was looking to use there. And he is definitely going to have to overwrite, given his level of aura and that he needs to look for an arm roast or return to nature. Looks like for right now, he's going to settle for a defense. But it doesn't look like he really wants to go in and play yet. Ebony does, however. Vacuum Slash doesn't connect for Xanxus. Ebony using a lightning sword there. He does hit with the Dragon Slayer. He's going to pop a capsule now. Diabolical trick. Xanxus even takes the fall damage, unfortunately. Trying to pepper at Ebony with that reincarnation. Lightning Sword does at least take the Guard of Water, and he catches the Flame Sword in response. That leaves Ebony's hand virtually empty. Looks like Xanxus has his other heat in hand, but he's hoping to catch an Armoros or return to nature early so that he can get his stats back rather than having to use the heat to cancel it out. He's got room in his hand so he can afford to wait. There might come a point where he's too full, like now. Decided that his hand is too full. Ebony definitely comes out ahead in that trade too, arsenal-wise. Xanxus all the way down to 11 capsules, but currently Ebony doesn't have any offense. Xanxus didn't take much health damage either, so this still isn't too bad for him. Reincarnation is a long-term move that he's not likely to lose at this point. Xanxus just kind of faking some, trying to get around some shields here, not having a whole lot of luck. It's worth noting this does appear to be a 3 school for Ebony. Faith, Kai, and Nature. Which we could be looking at Change the World's Violent Changes or something like that leading up. He does at least have that diabolical trick. He's sitting on it in hand. Doesn't seem willing to dig. We may be at a bit of an impasse here early in the game. Ebony does finally overwrite the diabolical trick for a yellow. It's worth noting that out of all his 3 schools, he doesn't actually have optics, so that is not recall. Xanxus is still hoping to get some cheeky damage in here while Ebony slowly digs. Ebony's now got the Glacial Wall, so he just decides to give himself that opening. He may have been holding on to it for a while, too. Hiding his hand so that way he could actually surprise Xanxus. Doesn't really get anything out of it. In fact, Xanxus has his own. And boy, is this one really heating up. But Glacial Wall shutting each other down solidly. Neither player able to get through the opposing Glacial Wall currently. I'm still of the opinion Xanxus has a Lightning Sword as his other attack as well. So I think he's trying to get Ebony to block with something so that he can get through and Lightning Sword a shield or 2 away. Getting rid of either Guard or Glacial Wall could be really big for him. My number one regret beginning this series is I didn't use the restroom beforehand, because, boys, it looks like we're going to be in for a long one. More of the same. Xanxus still only showing the reincarnation, trying to fake out some shields, get some momentum here. The smart thing about that is brush defenses like Guard and Angel's Wing. Now, I normally give them a really bad rap, but they are pretty good against fakeouts. Reason being, they're very quick to fire. They're much harder to fake out than, say, like Wall of Fire, which has a bit more of a self-stun after using it. You have to like hold that shield up, and there's a longer delay before you can reactivate your shield or another ability, for example, than, say, Guard, where he just kind of does that little slap motion. He's able to reactivate the defense faster. So, for example, if he were to use a Wall of Fire versus the Reincarnation fake, Xanxus could then combo with the Lightning Sword and take the shield almost 100%. However, when it's a Guard, it's too fast of a reset. He could just hit Guard a second time, and he would catch the Lightning Sword practically every time. Same with Angel's Wing. So there are some good things about those brush defenses. So Ebony taking good advantage of that here, shuts Xanxus down, and the clock did go into the emergency countdown after too long without any action occurring. So we're going to have a tie in game one. After a tie, we proceed to the next map sequentially that hasn't yet been played, so that will bring us to Highway for Game 2. Had to explain in chat the map rules for ties. Not everybody was clear on that, so now everybody's got that cleared up. Ebony, sure going to feel at home here. Most people know Highway is his favorite map. Here we go. Couple of yellows for both our players here. Nobody's using them yet, though. In fact, I think Ebony overwrote one. Quantum Amps. Double Quantum Amps. Ebony firing off some crawlers to come towards Xanxus. I didn't actually see where that ended up. He may have just had to break the fence with the first one. Some fences you can kind of fire him through, and other times it won't. But it looks like Xanxus is ready to move in as well. And Ebony is just out. He's out of there. Xanxus is running the Psycho Burst. Just want to point that out. It's coming. He's got the Psycho Aura. He's used 2 Quantum Amps. He's basically wearing flashing neon sign that says Psycho Burst. Ebony with the yellow aura. We know he's headed towards recall. We've seen the Faith as well in the reincarnation in the crawlers. Xanxus might have been better off blocking that, because now he gives up a lot of territory there. He's going to catch up pretty well here. Ebony's letting him catch up too. Xanxus really needs one more aura, because then he can block and attack. But right now, if he has to block once, he cannot attack afterwards. Not to mention, if he cartwheels, he can't really follow up and attack either. He has one in base, so he's going to go pick that up. Ebony, in fact, uses Relearn there just to get a 10th aura particle. That does bring him to 2-shot territory, where he was not previously. I'm going to guess that's probably... I mean, I don't know. It's another yellow. Maybe it's another Relearn. It's got Photon Barrier. That will be effective against the Psycho Burst as well. He can block all day against Psycho Burst. Oh, nice manual aim. Ebony ought to just be blocking with that Photon Barrier, in my opinion. There's really no reason not to. Or at least not just cartwheeling like that. He actually jumps off to create some distance. He's going to use a Healing Water and then a Recall. Oh boy, the cancer is back. Recall Healing Water. I think it was Choices used to do a Recall Healing Water deck. And everybody loved it. But it is a smart setup to run. Especially with the relearns, the recalls. I mean, in the end, after the tumble off, he only gained 2 health. He just jumps off again. Interesting. And there's another Healing Water. Oh, boy. I think Ebony's tactic might be to troll long enough to tilt Xanxus. And right now it's working. At the very least, he's tilted me. Run around the map in circles and recall relearn Healing Waters. Oh boy. I mean, he is just 100% not engaging Xanxus at all. He's got 3 attacks in hand. What is he doing? Shoot something. Oh, Ebony's just playing keep away. Psycho Burst is a little bit closer to being one shot now. Xanxus can never catch him. Xanxus scores a hit. Tune in again in 3 minutes to find out if it mattered. Spoilers, it didn't. I think Xanxus needs a speed up in there. That's why his Shadow Shield runs it. For situations like this. Psycho Burst, you got to be able to close the distance, and Ebony's just not giving it to him. Okay. Is this when he finally goes aggressive? He's got a Willow. I think he might be willing to fight. No. I think he just wanted to say that he shot and attacked this round. Yep. Oh, boy. And I like how Xanxus just picked up another shield. All this setup, Xanxus just picks up another shield. What are we doing here? Ebony's now one shot to a Vibration Blaster. Xanxus has 2 minutes to land one. That or before Ebony finds another healing water. There it is! Thank goodness for Xanxus' impeccable manual aiming skills. We have a winner in this series. It may only be a winner of one map, but we have a winner of one map. And that's a victory that I will also take. Ebony calls for City for Game 3. All right, here we are, Game 3. Xanxus with a 1-game lead. Ebony with 3 shields. Kai Ara. Green in hand. Xanxus got the nature, got the heat. And the Tiger Strength. Looks like Xanxus is looking to bring some heat. Bullet of Fire does snap one flash hole. Ebony uses the Tiger Strength of his own, but no attack in hand yet. Xanxus decides to retreat and pick up another. 2 attacks in hand. There's the Blazing Bullet. That can almost snap a guard. That is a 6 damage Blazing Bullet. And Ebony's running away. Dragon Slayer. Putting him in a trash tornado over here. Trying to hit Ebony. Oh, that's a beautiful lightning sword, and Ebony just barely mistimes it versus it there with the guard. Xanxus with a big advantage right now after taking that shield. He's able to pick up a shield of his own. Ebony's finally got some offense, but oh, there's another big Blazing Bullet. Xanxus putting the hurt on him after that. A match can change just like that. One lightning sword breaks this wide open. Ebony goes from 3 shields at one point to none. Xanxus breaking 2. And suddenly, His Blazing Bullet is terrifying. Oh, he loses it, though. What a huge combo out of Ebony, bringing it right back. The aura backflow magically timed. See, Xanxus looks like he just straight up overwrites the Blazing Bullet and is going to move back in. Oh, he eats another aura backflow twice now. He hasn't bothered to dodge it, and he's gotten hit. The hubris. And now he's got him one shot versus the Tiger Strength Hyper Kick. Xanxus is in dangerous territory. He dies in one hit to anything Ebony has right now. Ebony's now got a shield once again. It's possible Xanxus has a vacuum slash and could one-shot Ebony here, but it's unlikely he can match the damage that Ebony can deal. Ebony looking to get the high ground here. Glacial Wall sacrificed. Another shield on deck. Xanxus unable to take advantage of that. Learning. Or no, that was Rafflesia Fang. And a healing water. Suddenly Xanxus really back in this. Nice ice sword. Ebony's in trouble. Oh, he's got the hyper kick as well. That's a 5 damage hyper kick. That will kill him in one hit. Same with the ice sword. Ebony's going to take a tumble. No more need for Tiger Strength. He's going to use it anyway. None of these hyper kicks connecting. There he goes. Executes with the ice sword. And Xanxus takes a 2-0 lead. What a match this is turning out to be. 1v1 tournament winners both. Xanxus winning the first ever Phantom Dust 1v1 tournament of the re-release. And Ebony winning the most recent one. He, however, didn't get a chance to play versus Xanxus directly in that tournament. Xanxus was actually eliminated on the other side of the bracket before the finals. But he's got a fairly commanding lead here right now. It's match point now. Ebony's calling for Refinery, clearly favoring some of these large maps where he can try to run out the clock a little more. He likes to play the long game, whatever it may be, with Recall, Healing Water, or Violent Changes. You know, he likes that long game, so he favors the larger maps. Xanxus really brought the pain there on City. Ebony almost had him, though. That quick Rafflesia Fang into Healing Water completely changed things, because suddenly Ebony couldn't trade anymore. And he ate that ice sword right after. That was such a huge swing there for Xanxus. See, a low aura start for Xanxus. Ebony looking a little bit better right now. He's actually going to be moving in aggressive. He's got the Kai aura, green in hand. I'm going to assume it's the Tiger Strength. And I have a fairly good idea that he's probably running the same thing as last time. So expect to see Faith Kai moves, Rian, Hyper Kick. He probably has the Willow. in there as well. We saw Aura backflow last time. It'd be pretty odd to see him not run Will-O-the-Wisp in a deck like that versus a Cartwheeler. And Xanxus just content to play Ring Around the Rosie, looks like. He's got no aura, and he has no interest in engaging. Oh, he does actually give Ebony a chance here. And he's going to pay for it. 7 damage from the Hyper Kick. He does at least trade back with the Reincarnation. But he is going to have a real bad time versus Hyper Kick in these close quarters. Does finally use the Glacial Wall against it. It's going to give him a little bit of time to dig, but he is very bad off on aura. And he is having to write quick. There's a Flame Sword, though. That's going to help give him the ability to trade back. Nice Vacuum Slash. Ebony, not used to being the aggressor here, is getting punished. Ebony is almost always the one who likes to be the reactive player. And here on this aggressive footing, it's not favoring him. Xanxus now, with the health advantage, uses the healing water. Ebony is in fact shieldless. Xanxus not really looking to go back in himself. Not yet. Willing to dig a little bit more, find out what else he has. Ebony's going to go home and lick his wounds for a bit, but he's not running that Recall Healing Water deck this time. I think that damage is going to stick. I think it's also interesting to note both Ebony and Xanxus showing us the pretty heavy utility of healing waters. Like, look just how much they've swung matches so far. Xanxus now getting in there with a Diabolical Trick just to harass Ebony a bit. Nice Dragon Slayer. But Healing Waters can be just such a big health swing right now. Very useful this series. Xanxus gets another capsule. Ebony trying to hyper kick, but he has to be wary of that Flame Sword. Flame Sword is generally favored in trades versus hyper kick. Hyper Kick is really good against Cartwheelers, but if they have a Flame Sword, they can punish you harder than you're likely to punish them. At least if you're using it aggressively. He gets another one. Xanxus is getting so many capsules while Ebony has a Hyper Kick. Ebony not defending his arsenal very well. It's ending up here on the back foot pretty heavily. He has one attack in hand, I'm assuming, which is still the Hyper Kick, and he gets punished. Loses his shield, and he takes the tumble off the map. The Diabolical Trick was just for insult on the injury, and Xanxus takes that in a fairly commanding 3-0-1 over Ebony.